Okay, so this video is going to be on how to put together the presentation on ProPresenter for Sunday services. To start, either you need to be on the presentation computer locally or you need to remote to the presentation computer. And we're going to go ahead and double click on ProPresenter 5 and open up ProPresenter. To use ProPresenter, we need to hit this OK button on it saying we're up to date and click the close button right up here. And then it'll open to the last place we were. So to get a little familiar with ProPresenter 5, the library is here. This is all of the different presentation slides that we've used in the past. Directly below it is the playlist and all the presentations within the playlist. So I have it in basically categories: Youth Sunday, Normal Service, Good Friday Service, Living Last Supper, and the Christmas services. So we're normally going to be using normal services. And then over here on the right of that is each different presentation. So we always have announcements at the beginning, and we go down through everything. So the first thing we're going to do is remove everything from the previous service. So announcements, those are going to be the older announcements. So we want to right click that and say remove from playlist. And we want to do Amazing Grace, because that was last week's song. Oh Lord, You're Beautiful, because that was last week's song. More Than Amazing, that was last week's choir. Grace Kids PowerPoint. We want to take out March 11th PowerPoint, take off communion, and open our eyes. And now we're down to basically, well, we also want to take off kettle offering because that probably will not be on this service. Now we're basically down to the bare essentials that we use on every service. Next thing I'm going to do is open the folder icon, go to this PC, and then open up the bulletins drive. Go to 2018 bulletins, and we're going to go to the date, so it'll be 3/18/18. And what I like to do, I'm going to right click on this PC and I'm going to say open a new window and go to downloads in the services folder and then create a folder for this week's service. What I like to do is do this to keep things organized, because every time you import something into ProPresenter, it'll save at that location. So if you make everything on the desktop or on a network drive, it always looks there for the file. So if we use it multiple times, it's better to have it local than to have it on a network drive or in a location in which you want to move it. Because once you move it, the file could possibly be broken and the background could not show. So we want to just copy over the 3/18/18 bulletin. Okay, after we copied that over, we want to come here and we want to say open a new window again. Go to the presentations drive and services, and then this week's service. And in here I have the video we're going to watch, the sermon, and all the music. So we're going to copy that over. And this is all things that you'd get off the presentation email, the Gmail account that they send, or we may have the pastor and choir director put all that into the presentation. But for right now, everything's emailed to us, and then we put it in like this. So after that, we want to go back to this PC and click Announcements. We want to take over just the plain announcements file. We want to copy that. And then what I like to do is rename that and then just add the date on the end. So 3/18/2018. Just because every time you import that into ProPresenter, if it's the same file name, it'll be very confusing. And when you import a PowerPoint file, it imports it as pictures. So the least confusing we can be, the better off we'll be, so we don't have to deal with having the wrong announcements up. After that, we'll just go ahead and close that folder. And then from here, we're going to open up the bulletin. And sometimes it's going to say that the font's not available. We'll just click on the font, say font substitution, permanently substitute, click OK and OK, just so it opens. It doesn't matter if we have the same font that they use to print the bulletin. We just need to see the order of everything. So the first thing we're going to do is come back here to ProPresenter. We're going to go to File, Import, PowerPoint. And then we leave it as Import All Slides as JPEG Images. We click the three dots beside the file. And then we go to Download Services and then the date, so 3/18/2018. And then we'll import our announcements file first. So you say Open and OK. Now it'll import over here to the library, and it'll always highlight the one you imported in yellow. So we'll take that and we'll drag down here to the location we want. So it'll be at the very top, and that'll add it to our playlist. Now, once we're here, we're going to go ahead and set this up. So every time we import a PowerPoint file, we want to always right-click on the very first one and say Add Clear Action and say All. That way, on the top and the bottom where it shows black, it won't seep through with one of the backgrounds from a different presentation. So every time we use a PowerPoint on the first PowerPoint slide, we want to clear all so it's consistent throughout the presentation, throughout that PowerPoint. So we still have the first slide selected, so we hold Shift and click on the last slide. Okay, so we select the first slide, we hold Shift and click the last slide. Now that'll highlight all 6 slides. Now we want to right click, say Go to Next Timer, and make that 17.0. So now the slides will automatically go to the next one every 17 seconds. And then we want to click the very last slide, right click and say Loop to First Slide. Now this is only the steps we do for the announcements. This will keep the announcements loop going without any interaction from us. Now after announcements, it goes prelude, so that's in the correct location. Then we want to do the music. So Cornerstone would be the first song. So we want to go back to our folder, and any file that has this logo is a ProPresenter bundle file. So that basically means it was designed in ProPresenter and exported from ProPresenter. So anything like that, we can double click on the file and it'll automatically import for us. Any PowerPoint we need to import manually. So Cornerstone, you can double click. It'll go to ProPresenter and it'll say the background already exists. This will happen multiple times. So you say add new version, and then it'll import. I always do add new version just to make sure we get the correct background. Sometimes the same file name could exist and we'd have the wrong background and then the music won't be consistent. So after we've imported that, it'll highlight it just like it did the PowerPoint. And we drag that down under Prelude. And now something about the bundle files. On here, we have to come up to this diagram looking button, click that, and then come to the gear shift and click the arrow beside that, and then click the version of the song we want. This is extremely important because right now it is not in the correct order, and if you don't do the correct version, then you'll be putting up lyrics to the song that would be incorrect. So when we click Song of Praise, it changes the lyrics a little bit. And then we can click the diagram button again to hide that. And now we want to do the next song. So the next song is I Give You My Heart. We want to double click that. Go back to ProPresenter, say add new version, add new version. It imports that, and then we'll drag that down underneath Cornerstone. And we want to do the same thing. So we go here to the diagram, the arrow, and this time we're supposed to use the short version. So we click short version and then click that again to hide that. The next thing is morning prayers, and then special music, Will You Come? So we go back to ProPresenter. We have morning prayers and the Lord's Prayer, and then we're going to import the special music. So you go to File, Import PowerPoint, click the three dots, and then you say Will You Come slide. Open that and click OK. Here's the slide for the special music, so you want to put that underneath morning prayers. And since this is a PowerPoint file, we want to right click it, we want to say Add Clear Action All. After the special music, we have Share the Peace and Children's Message. So we have Share the Peace and Children's Message. And then we have Presentation of Tithes and Offerings. So we're going to leave On Mission on there. If Pastor Ted does not do an On Mission, then we will just skip over that and click on Presentation of Tithes and Offerings. Then we'll do Scripture and Sermon. So that'll be what Ted emailed us previously. So we go File, Import PowerPoint, click the three dots, and we will click on Listen, Finding Your True Self. That is his sermon title. Then click OK. It'll bring it and it'll highlight it there. And we'll drag that underneath Tithes and Offerings. Now, since that's a PowerPoint, we want to right-click the first one and say Clear All. And a thing I like to do is the first part of his PowerPoint will be the scripture. So after the scripture is finished, which the scripture finishes on slide 6 and slide 7 starts his sermon, I like to right-click on slide 7 and clear it again, just to show me that that is his start of the sermon. So slide 6 is the last slide for the scripture. And as well on his sermon, we're going to add a video to the very last slide. So we want to right click on the last slide and we're going to click Edit Slide. Also, on the very last slide of his sermon, he would like to do a video. So we're going to File, Save All, and we're going to close ProPresenter, and then we're going to reopen it, just to make sure the video gets imported correctly. Once it opens, we will click OK and close, just like normal. And then we'll scroll all the way down here to the bottom. Right-click the last slide and say Edit Slide. Scroll to the bottom, click on the last slide, and then we're going to click the little plus button down here to add a slide at the end. We're going to click on double-click to edit, and we're going to hit the delete key to get rid of that. And then we're going to come up here to video slash image, and that adds this little video area and image area at the bottom. We can also drag this up to make it larger. We're going to click the plus icon down here at the bottom, and we're going to click Listen Trailer for Churches and click Open. It usually adds it at the very beginning, so then we'll bring that up, drag that up, and let go, and that puts the video on the slide. And I like to click Video and Image again just to hide that so we don't see it throughout the presentation. Also, when I do a video, I like to right-click and say Clear All again, just to make sure the background doesn't proceed. After that, we go back here to our bulletin. Closing hymn is next, so Jesus Calls Us. So that's a PowerPoint again. So we go File, Import PowerPoint, click the three dots, and say Jesus Calls Us. Click OK. Brings it into the library, so we'll drag that down here to the bottom. And then we'll right-click on the first slide and say Clear All. Then we'll say File, Save All, and that is the entire presentation in the order that it's supposed to be. So we can close that, and next time we open it, it'll be exactly how we want it.